Kane Vision welcomes in Frank Haith, the head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, and we have the non-league schedule. It has been released, and it's a good schedule, isn't it, Coach?
It is. You know, you've got a couple Big 12 teams in there. You got a top 10 team, probably in Nevada on the road. You got a Pac-12 team in Utah. So I think it's a very loaded schedule.
Yeah, and the home schedule is highlighted, obviously, by Oklahoma State and Kansas State. And everybody knows about OSU, but Kansas State was one of your biggest wins last year.
Yeah, and they had a nice run in the NCAA tournament, returned a lot of those guys back. So I think you're looking at a K-State team also could have a chance to be in a top 10, top 15.
And you've mentioned Nevada, that's part of a Las Vegas tournament, and that's a team that could be a top 10, top 15 team at the beginning of the season, right?
No question. You know, they had a lot of guys put their names in a draft, but unfortunately they all came back. You know, the Martin twins, and they're terrific. They had a great game in NC2A against Cincinnati that went down to the wire and ended up beating Cincinnati at the end. I think they're just an extremely talented team. And
there's no question about it, how you schedule your non-league is so important when it comes to the end of the year and March Madness and that sort of thing. What is your approach?
Well, you've got to have a good balance. When you're in a multiple bid league like we are in the AAC, you've got to have a good non-league schedule. If you're able to do what you need to do in conference play, you get a chance to have a bid. You get a bid, and that's what it's all about, is put yourself in position, build a resume, to have a chance to get a bid.
And unlike past years, a long time ago, when you couldn't even touch the guys in the middle of the summer, you know, you didn't have a chance to really have much practice. But now the rules have changed, and now you've had, you know, 4, 5, 6 practices here in the summer. How's it look as you cobble this team together?
You know, we actually, they've increased the hours too, Bruce. You know, it went from 2 hours to 4 hours you can have. We don't quite use 4 hours with our guys on the court because David Dietz uses a lot of those hours. We go to 3 hours a week, and we still give him 5 hours with our guys. But it's been really good. You see the progression of our guys are developing. Some of the new guys are starting to feel more and more comfortable what we're doing. We have had some guys, returning guys, have really stepped up and improved. I mean, it's a fun group. I think our fan base is going to be excited about this team.
And nothing against the former teams that you had, but it seems to me, as I've watched them, that this is as athletic a group overall, a deep athletic group that you've ever had.
I can be careful saying this, but we think it's our most talented team since we've been here, and we've got great depth. You know, you return a lot of guys that played a lot last year. Other than that first year we had all those guys that played a lot. But we have a lot of guys that played last season that went through the rigors of the AAC. And I think when you have a lot of returning guys, and then our recruiting has been upgraded. I think, you know, with the Chris Barnes and Zeke Moore coming in, we had the 2 big kids coming in too. I think it's a good collection of talent that gives us more depth. But you talk about our athletic ability, there's no question we're more athletic, we're faster, we got great length, you know, our guards are long. It's the kind of team we've been wanting to put together, and we feel like we got one now.
Well, you mentioned your athletic performance guru, David Dietz, a little bit earlier, and this is also a time where guys make progress, as you mentioned, when they're with the workouts and that sort of thing, something that you oversee, but something that obviously Coach Dietz is very directly involved in, and this is kind of where you put the hay in the barn, isn't it?
It is, and that's such an important part of developing your team. And David sets the foundation for what we want our guys to understand, and from a competing standpoint, he does a lot with our guys, not just in the weight room, but, you know, out in the sand pit and doing some things with our guys in terms of just their mental approach too. And I think, you know, when you get to February and March, that's where it comes out, what he has prepared our guys for the season. And those guys are so invaluable, and sometimes I think they're the most important guy on your staff.
I know you can't wait for the season to start, obviously, but we haven't had the entire schedule released. But in another month or two, we'll obviously get the American Athletic Conference tacked on to the non-league, and you look forward to that. But you kind of know what the American is all about. It's a good league.
We do. We know our opponents. We just don't know the timing of all our games, but we've got a tough schedule. You know, we've got some good opponents coming in our building, Wichita State, Houston, you know, Cincinnati's coming here. We didn't have Cincinnati in here last year, so it's a really, really good schedule. I think one that if we do what we need to do, we'll give ourselves a chance to have the kind of resume we need to get in the postseason.
Coach, continue to enjoy your summer.
Thank you, Bruce.
Head coach Frank Haith, University of Tulsa men's basketball.